Hello, my friends, and welcome to a 5-star Christian fiction book recommendations video. I wanted to create this video and not talk about books that I've talked about a ton. So this list will exclusively have books, I'm pretty sure, make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, exclusively books that I've read this year, most of them that I've read in the last month or two. A couple of them I haven't talked about because I read them in May. To me, these are books written by a Christian author that have good faith elements in them. There are lots of great books written by Christian authors that don't have faith elements. I'm sticking with ones that do, and we'll get into them. Some of these authors I've read multiple books by. Some of them are new to me authors, which is always exciting to find new authors and love the books. So let's just start by diving in. First off, I'm going to share one that I read at the beginning of the month here, and that is Raccoon Key by Donna M. Cole. This book kind of reminds me of like how Jamie Jo writes in some ways. It had a little bit of eeriness because this is dual timeline, and the past timeline is 1873, and it's a real mystery that remains unsolved to this day. So in 1873, this lighthouse worker's wife was murdered. The paperwork says she committed suicide, but the method in which she died isn't really even possible for someone to do themselves, so someone was covering something up. And this book explores a little bit of that timeline, what possibly happened, as well as a present day timeline where we are with a main character who studies loggerhead turtles. I think she tracks them. She's been trying to find their nests and stuff. So she's staying close to where the lighthouse was or is. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. This is my first book by Donna M. Cole, but I expect it will not be my last. I would highly recommend this one. The only other one that I have a physical copy for right now is Crosswords by Shatona Havig. This is almost a cheat because I have recommended Shatona's books often and books in the series often. This is technically book 3 in a series, but her books can be read as standalones. Sometimes there's brief mentions of people from previous books, but I don't think it really ruins the story if you read it out of order, but I would still recommend in order if you can. So this was the Indie Book Club book for May, so I just shared some of my thoughts over on Instagram and my stories. I have a highlight talking about it, but what was really unique about this book, so we have a main character. He goes to bookstores and he helps them kind of get back on their feet. If they're losing money, he finds ways they can make money. And this one is unique because this is a Christian bookstore that is actually doing decently well. He's not really helping the bookstore as much, the business as much in this one as he is just helping the people. And so we have a Christian bookstore. The owner's nephew has just declared that he is no longer a Christian or never was, or he's definitely having a bit of a crisis in his life. And I really like how all of that was handled. One of the things with the books in this series is Shatona writes out a book list for you. Your TBR explodes. I ended up highlighting the books that sounded interesting as I was reading the book that I had never heard of before. Because if I highlighted all the ones I wanted to read, I would have highlighted too many. But then my plan is to also go through the entire list and mark down which ones I've actually read already and find descriptions for all of them. So super bad for my TBR or super good. I mean, it's good to have a healthy TBR, right? Shatona definitely helps explode the TBR. One I read in April was Before I Called You Mine by Nicole Deese. This, I loved the themes of adoption in here. So we have a single woman who is I think she's a first grade teacher, and in the adoption process, adopting from China, but this guy comes into her life. But if she were to pursue a relationship, that puts her whole adoption on hold. So she's in this hard space. And then she hasn't even told her family about her adoption because she knows they're not going to, or she suspects that they're not going to handle it well. And as an adoptive mom myself, there were so many things I could relate to. The journey of waiting to be matched with a child is so difficult. And a weird side effect for me for this book was that it kind of made me want to get back into teaching. So that's like something that's like simmering at the back of my mind as a possibility in the future. Definitely not something that I thought would come from reading this book. I have been on a decent Nicole Deese kick in the last like year or two. I've read almost all of her books at this point. I think I just have one more series of hers to start and finish. So getting caught up. This one might be my absolute favorite by her. I think so. Then we've got The Women of Oak Ridge. This was my first, I think it was the first book I read by Michelle Shockley. I went through and I've read at least 3 of hers so far this year. She writes Christian historical fiction. They've all been good, but I think The Women of Oak Ridge is my favorite, partially because it is so unique, or at least to me it was so unique. It is set during World War II. We are in Oak City, which was like a secret city. They were building an atomic bomb. And we're dual timeline. We're set during that time, like the 30s, 40s, and then we're also in the 70s. And in our earlier timeline, we are with a woman who is working in the facility where the atomic bomb is being built. She's a messenger. She delivers packages from like one end to the other. And then in the 70s, we are with her niece. And her niece is doing a paper on the secret city, and she wants to interview her aunt, but her aunt is like very shut off. Like she doesn't want to talk about it. And the niece starts to unravel things. Turns out there was a bit of a mystery that occurred during the 30s, 40s with the aunt. Someone went missing, and so like there's a whole mystery aspect to it as well. Then I just finished one last week, Capture the Moment by Suzanne Woods Fisher. I have just been in the mood to read books set in the woods, in the forest, and this one really like scratched that itch for me because our main character is a wildlife photographer. She got her start in a zoo, but this summer she's trying to get a picture of this really elderly, I think it's like possibly the oldest grizzly that there is. So they're waiting for this grizzly bear to come out of hibernation. And then our other perspective is a park ranger who is just a park ranger for the summer. He's a teacher during the school year. And there's some like poaching that's going on in the background as well. I really enjoyed, it's going to be a series, but I think that they're like mostly like standalone type books. I think book 2 is just coming out in the next couple of months here. I can't remember what it's called right now, but that one looks really good too. I ended up using this one for the hike-a-thon for wildlife on the cover because I love that through the lens of the camera, you can see the bear. And one of my old lady goals is to do wildlife photography when I'm older. So yeah, was just loving living vicariously through the book. And the last one is one that I've talked about a few times since I read it in like January or February, but for a good reason. It's Crisscross by C.C. Warrens. This is the first book in the Holly series. I'm hoping to read book 2 this summer. I have it on my summer TBR because it is like suspense, thrillery, but with like faith elements. And in book 1, the guy that you would normally assume is going to be the love interest, usually is in Christian fiction, ends up just being like a father figure. And I loved that. It was so different. So we follow Holly Cross. She can't remember like the first 10-ish years of her life. Then she spent a number of years in foster care. She aged out of foster care, and now she's living on her own. Obviously has some trust issues because of her history. And I just really appreciate how things got really hard in the book and they felt more real, even like how they're resolved. It's not all perfect. It's a decently long series. So I think we're going to be working through a lot of stuff. And I also just appreciate the like foster care elements as a foster parent, even though her experience was atrocious. I do think that is kind of how how it is for most foster kids, unfortunately. So I just appreciate like how real it was, and I am looking forward to continuing that series. So out of this list, Donna M. Cole and Suzanne Woods Fisher are new to me authors. I think I started a book by Suzanne Woods Fisher at one point, but I didn't get very far from what I remember. So I'm excited to like dive into more of their books. And then the other authors, I don't think I have read, I haven't read everything from any of these authors, so I should have a lot more great books coming up in the future. Let me know, what were some of your favorite Christian fiction books that you've read recently? I have been really increasing my Christian fiction reading lately, so I plan on doing another one of these videos hopefully in the next couple of months when I get another good batch of books. I have a few different videos in this vein sharing different Christian fiction from years previous. Usually I film it later in the summer, but I felt like I had enough now, so I will probably just do another video when I have more. Definitely give me your guys' recommendations. I would love to read more books that have great faith elements, where light wins out over darkness, and I look forward to hearing your recommendations.